Welcome to beautiful Tahiti. My name is Tumata Robinson. I'm at the head of the Grand Ballet de Tahiti. I lead the group with Teiki, our director artistic, and Lorenzo, our choreographer. To my right is Moena, who is one of our lead dancers, and she also assists me in giving Tahitian dance classes. We're going to go through the different steps of the basic movements of Tahitian dancing, introducing the different moves and the different steps. Moena is going to be doing the dancing and I'm going to be explaining the movements. So let's get started. There are two basic movements in Tahitian dancing, the tamo and the ami. The tamo is a movement that is done with the hip swaying from left to right and right to left. The feet are together, heels together. To be able to do this movement, you have to raise one heel after the other. When you raise your right heel, the hip moves to the left. When you raise the left heel, the hip moves to the right. The movement is always an opposite movement to the heel that is risen. The ami is a round circular movement that is done with the hips, as if you were drawing on a piece of paper a large round circle. The feet are flat on the ground. The heels do not rise. And you move your hips forwards to the side, either to the left or to the right, backwards in a circular movement. You can do this movement either to the left or to the right. We're going to do first just everything that has to do with the tamo, which is the first basic movement, okay? So from the basic movement, place the feet together, heels together, open a little bit in front, and lift your heels one after the other. And move the hips right, left, right, left, right, left. 1, 2, 1, 2. Right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Then she's going to just stay in one place, and she does a tamo in one place, lifting the heels each time, one after the other. If you don't lift the heels, it blocks the movement. You can't have a large movement. So you have to lift the heels. With the movement of the tamo, just walk, placing right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. You can move backwards. We often do 2 steps on the side, 1, 2, slowly, and a cross movement, forwards, backwards, and back in front. So we do that once more. She's going to move forwards, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, and back to the left. So that we've done the tamo. There is a certain attitude to have in Tahitian dancing. You have to stand nice and straight, feet together, shoulders are relaxed and pulled backwards. Here you have hand movements on the bosom. The thumbs are closed, as you can see. Shoulders are relaxed. Arms are outstretched. Fingers, you have to be very careful that the fingers are always tight together, not open, always closed. You have to watch the thumbs. When you outstretch your arms, you have to place them with elbows a little bent, not too low, neither too high, just below the shoulders. Here you have a very classical type of movement, what we would consider a comma between each movement. So we're going to go through these movements again. Arms are outstretched. We go back to the bosom, outstretch the hands to the side, left arm up above the head. The right hand is above the head and back down to the hips. We go over this once more. Bosom, forward movement to the side. The left hand is positioned up towards the head, to the right and then to the left. Now if we're going to do this with a tamo movement, the heels go up one after the other, the hips are swaying. You advance with the tamo position as if you were walking. Spread out the arms. A movement to the right, a movement to the left. Back to the bosom. Forwards, spread out to the right and to the left. You can also do this movement with a faster tamo movement, which is done by just moving your hips faster and faster. Feet always have to be together. Careful not to spread the feet, that is very important. Be sure that your shoulders are still relaxed. Moving the hips faster and faster. Let's put all those basic tamo movements with music. We are now going to demonstrate the second basic movement in Tahitian dancing, the ami. The ami is a circular movement done with the hips. The goal is to move the hips slowly at first and then faster without moving the upper part of the body or the shoulders.
Here the ami is done slowly. Hips moving to the right in a circular movement. The ami can also be done with a step to the right or a step to the left. As we're doing the ami, we're going to add arm movements. Place your right hand on your chest and hold your elbow straight to the right. Ami to the right, then you do the same movement to the left. Move your hips to the right in a circular movement and do the same movement to the left. Here we are going to go through other movements that have been developed from the ami. The fa'arapu, which is a faster circular hip movement. The peipei, which is the fa'arapu, but you project your hips towards the upper part of your shoulders. So you can see the difference between the ami, which is the large circular hip movements, the fa'arapu, which is a faster circular movement, and the peipei, which is the third movement we saw earlier. The afata is a square movement that is done with the hips, which is in reality what we call the box movement. Afata in Tahitian means box. Another movement that has been developed from the ami is the haminimini. The haminimini is a circular movement. This is a series of little round circles drawn in a large circle. Now we have the ami, faster movement. This is the fa'arapu. The peipei, the afata, and the haminimini. The ami, the fa'arapu, the peipei, the afata, and the haminimini. The teiki was a movement that was developed a few years ago so that a dancer could move faster in different directions on a stage. The teiki is done by standing on your toes. The feet are together. Start the hip movements. Bend your knees a little bit. The teiki can be done with any of the ami movements, and it also can be done with the tamu movement. Move forwards, backwards, to the right, or to the left. In this movement, the teiki is done with the fa'arapu. Now we are going to add arm movements to some of the ami movements. Standing straight, Moena is now going to do the ami movement. Right hand placed on the bosom, the elbow is nice and straight, and she will ami to the right. Then to the left. The fa'arapu will be done with the tiki movement, sideways, with a movement that is called the rising sun. The pepe is done with arms crossed on the chest, elbows nice and straight. The haminimini is done with both arms outstretched over the head, elbows are relaxed, not down nor outstretched too high up. The afata is done with arms crossed on the chest, elbows nice and straight. Let's run through and review the ami movements. The basic round circular movement done with the hips. Here you see the ami that is done to the right and the ami done to the left. Here we will review the fa'arapu, which is a faster circular movement done with the hips. The ami, the slower circular movement. And the fa'arapu, the faster circular movement. We are now going to review the pepe, which is a fast circular movement that is done with an accent towards the back part of the body. The ami, the fa'arapu, and the pepe. Now we're going to review the afata, the box movement. This is the afata to the right, and it can also be done to the left. This is a side view of the afata. And the movement is propelling the hips to the right, to the back, to the left, and forwards in a round circular movement. Now we're going to review the haminimini, which is a movement done with a series of small round movements in a large circle. This can also be done to the right or to the left. Remember that the upper part of the body must never move in Tahitian dancing, and that the feet are always together and never spread apart. Here we have a side view of the haminimini. Let's go through these different ami movements with music. We are now going to go through some different advanced movements, the varu and the fa'atere. First, we're going to look at the varu. Do not forget to always bend your knees a little in Tahitian dancing. We call this the sitting position. You must not be straight. You must always bend your knees. The feet are always together. The varu movement is a movement that is done by doing an ami to the right and an ami to the left. So there is a circular movement to the right, a circular movement to the left in one movement, which is called the varu. It is also called, we also consider it as a donut movement or a twisting movement. The feet always move in opposite directions as compared to the hips. When the hip goes to the left, it is the right foot that twists inside. And when the hip goes to the right, it is the left foot that twists inside. The varu is usually done as a slow motion, but it can also be done as a fast movement. We have the varu slowly and faster. Be sure that the hips are really moving forwards and to the right, or left to the forwards and to the left. Here we are reviewing the feet movement with the varu. The hip goes to the right. It is the left foot that goes inside, and vice versa. Do not spread the feet apart or place them too tightly together. Remember to bend and to twist the heel one after the other, inside. Here we have a side view of the varu. Remember that your arms have to be placed with just the elbows bent. Remember that the shoulders do not move. Here we have a back view of the varu. Probably the hottest movement that we have in Tahitian dancing is the fa'atiri. The fa'atiri is a seductive movement. You place your right foot forwards, and you roll your hips to the right. The fa'atiri is always taught as a movement that is done as well as to the right as to the left. The foot to the left or to the right that is placed forward is always placed on a tiptoe. The fa'atiri is usually done with seductive arm movements. In this case, we call this a calling movement. It is an invitation to be seduced, an invitation to dance. There always has to be an eye contact with the person that you want to seduce. You never cover your face with an arm movement. It is always taught as a movement that is done as well as to the right as to the left. The fa'atiri is done with the ami movement, the round circular hip movement. This is a back view of the fa'atiri. To the right, the hips are rolling to the right with the large ami circular movement, and here we have the fa'atiri to the left. This is probably the most classical way of doing the fa'atiri with these arm movements. But you can also cross your arms on your chest, and you can find other movements. The fa'atiri is done with an accentuated circular movement. The fa'atiri is a movement that is not done fast. It can be done on slow percussion sounds or with a song. Remember that when you do the fa'atiri, there's got to be an eye contact with the person you want to seduce. You can also move forwards and backwards with the fa'atiri. That's why it's important to know how to fa'atiri to the right and fa'atiri to the left. Here we are reviewing a back view of the fa'atiri. Now let's move forwards with the fa'atiri. Place your right foot forwards on the toe. Start moving your hips in a circular movement to the right with a large ami. Place your arms so that your face is not hidden. And start moving your left foot in a crisscross sideways movement. This enables you to move forwards with the fa'atiri. Turn to the left and do the same movements with a circular movement to the left of the hips. Placing your left foot forwards on the toe and moving your right foot sideways. Here we have 3 movements, arm movements for the fa'atiri. Look at the way Moena is moving her fingers. That is what we call the calling movement. She uncovers her face. She does not hide behind her arm. The face has to be always uncovered. Remember that there's got to always be an eye contact with the person you want to seduce. Here we have another movement called the hui. The hui stems from the tamau movement. The hips move right to left and left to right in a slight twisting position. The right foot hits the ground. That gives you the possibility to throw your hips farther to the right or to the left. The tamau and the hui. The hui is a large tamau movement done as a twist. As you beat the ground with your right foot, you raise the heel of your left foot up and down. Now let's go through the varu and the fa'atiri combined with music.